This lesson covers getting help and verifying the XAMPP status. The topics include: how do you get help on the local XAMPP installation? Are there any forums you can consult? How do you verify the status? And what about XAMPP security? And finally, what is PHP info? To get help on the local XAMPP installation, you can go to a browser and type in localhost. This will bring you to the default page, which is under the XAMPP folder, which is under htdocs. From here, if you type status, you'll get an indication of which modules are activated and which are deactivated. Now, for example, if we move over to the XAMPP control panel and stop MySQL, we move back to the screen, refresh, we will now see that the MySQL database has been deactivated. We can also get information on security. There's a page for documentation for each of the various software packages included in XAMPP. We can also get information on the various components that are within XAMPP. We can look at PHP info, which is an informational screen, which gives us information about our PHP installation. PHP info is a command which is built into the PHP language. Here we can see overall information on our PHP installation, including server information and local configuration information, such as where the local PHP ini file is located. Moving down the page, we can see information about various streams packages which are covered in other lessons. Further down, we have information on the various PHP extensions which are available on this particular installation. Finally, at the very bottom of the screen, we see an output which is referred to as PHP info, and this gives us inbound information which is coming from the browser going to the web server. In this case, of course, the browser and the web server are running on the same machine. Looking again to the left, you'll notice that we have a series of example programs written in PHP which might be of use to facilitate your own program development skills. Here we can see CD collection, biorhythm, instant art, and a phone book, all written in PHP. In addition, we have a tool, PHP MyAdmin, which can also be accessed directly from your browser by typing in localhost/PHP MyAdmin. There's also information on some of the other tools available in the XAMPP package. In terms of support, there are a number of forums which are available. One of them is located on the ApacheFriends.org website. You can type in www.apachefriends.org, and from there, you can go to the Apache Friends forum. Here, you'll find answers to questions about the various versions of XAMPP. Another source of support is available for MySQL. There's a series of forums located at forums.mysql.com. Here you can see various categories of information depending on what's of interest or depending on which problems you're facing. On the PHP side, there's a PHP forum which is accessible through the forums.zend.com website. From here, you would move down and select PHP, and then you'll see a series of topics which are pertinent to the PHP programming language. You can also see the number of replies for a particular question and the number of views. The number of views will give you an idea of how many people may perhaps be experiencing a similar problem. Also, on the Zend.com website, there's something which is referred to as webinars. Webinars are recorded sessions which are made available by Zend. This includes a series of PHP and open source webinars. There are videos which are approximately an hour in length on various topics of interest. In regards to security, if we return to the local XAMPP console, you'll notice that there's an option that's specifically for security. What this option does is it analyzes your system and makes suggestions as to changes that you might make. You'll notice, for example, that the MySQL admin user root has no password. Also, PHP MyAdmin is freely accessible by the network. So you can review this page and take any suggestions into account. Notice to fix the problems for security, you can simply click on this link, and then you can make the necessary changes. So for example, for MySQL, we can assign a password. Click on this. Then notice, of course, you need to restart MySQL to make the changes. So we stop and restart. Moving back to the page. For XAMPP directory protection, we could provide security at various directory levels by specifying an htaccess file. In this particular case, however, we are not going to proceed with this step as it would interfere with other operations that we plan to perform for our security labs. So, in review, how do you get help on the local XAMPP installation? Simply type localhost at your browser, and you will be redirected to an XAMPP default page. Are there any forums you can consult? For XAMPP support, go to www.apachefriends.org. For PHP webinars, which are recorded sessions approximately 1 hour in length, go to www.zen.com/language of your choice/resources/webinars/PHP. There's also a PHP forum, which is visible at forums.zen.com. You would then select PHP. MySQL forums are visible at forums.mysql.com. There's also an Apache Server wiki, which is at wiki.apache.org/httpd. How do you verify the XAMPP status? Go to localhost, and on the left side, select Status. What about XAMPP security? In the browser, select localhost, select security from the left, which brings up localhost/security/index.php. From there, you can make changes to MySQL and also protect the XAMPP directory structure. What is PHP Info? PHP Info is a utility built into the PHP language which gives you information on your local PHP installation. This concludes our discussion of getting help and verifying XAMPP status.